There are 200 ways. I want to say this to everybody right now because the Spirit is speaking to me right now. There are 200 ways for money to come into your family right now.
Right now.
There are 200 ways. All you need to do is tune into them and start deciding which ones are best for you. And the best way to do that is to tune in every day in silence for about 15 minutes and ask the question, what's a new way that I could create wealth, make money, protect my family, and give my family what they want? There are 200 ways for every single one of you to bring income in.
Mental toughness.
Listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
The mental toughness mindset.
I had to go to grow.
Stand safe.
Martin Luther King.
You got challenges that you're going to run across.
All righty. Time for another episode of Elite Psyche, the mental toughness pod, which is really the really big show. The Elite Psyche, the really big show. So on Elite Psyche, what we do is interview people who have had success in life, because we know that if you've had success, that you've had to go through a lot of mental toughness. You had to deal with a lot of things in life as you climb that ladder, and you have to be mentally strong to deal with it. So today is like, all the other shows. We got a special guest here, guy I've been knowing probably since, I would say 2005 maybe 2006, round about that time. Was building a network marketing team, and we were on fire, and he came in and helped us. He put gasoline on the fire. he poured gasoline on the fire, because he's probably, in my opinion, one of the top sales trainers in this country, and he can explain to you why a person needs to look at sales and understand what it is, and stop looking at it as something negative or something bad that some people look at. Because sales, actually, everything starts with a sale. Any company that you work for starts with a sale. You can't even get your salary if things are not moving, if things are not selling. That's how you get your salary, from sales. So he is we just talked about this, the third most famous MJ in the world. So I'm gonna bring him up. We got Michael Jackson, MJ, Michael Jordan, MJ, and now, folks, Mr. MJ Durkin, third most famous MJ.
There he is, the third
My
most
guy. That's it. He's ready. All right, so I have my engineer Valerie on, and Valerie she's also our sound person. So we got 3 sounds that we play. And if you hear, first of all, let's give Mr. MJ a warm round of applause, Valerie. And the crowd goes wild.
I love it. I love it.
Then we have one, if she's really excited about what you just said, play the horn. That lets you know she's excited about that. And if you say something funny, play the laugh. So if you hear that, you already know what's going on here.
Okay.
All right. So, man, MJ, the last time that we actually did an interview was in the studio in Atlanta. And at that time, I probably had a little bit more hair, and your hair was a lot blacker.
Yep. Yeah. It was a lot darker. Oh, yeah.
So we have matured a lot. You know what I'm saying? That had to be around 2007, I think, or 2006, around about that time. We did the interview in the studio. And I always say I was podcasting before podcasting.
Oh, yeah, you were. Yeah, you were ahead of your time, bro.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so now I got your books in front of me, man. I have Double Your Contacts. I have Activity, Hustle, and the Power of Action. You and who was
My
that?
son Corey.
That's your son?
That's my boy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Then I got, and this is crazy. I was reading this one a while back. It didn't even go down to the bottom to know it was you. You can't get rich if you feel poor.
Ooh,
got that one.
I love that.
Cold Calling for God. And you got the Durkins, the story of the Catholic family. Now, I hadn't gone through this one yet. Tell me what's in here that's going to be so exciting for me to find out about you in here.
Well, I don't know if it's exciting. It's I said on the back of the book, it's not James Bond, and it's not it's not some big conspiracy or anything like that. It's just my being raised by a great family. I was I was adopted. My brother and my sister were all adopted. I'm the oldest, and so I sat down to write my life story growing up in a great family, and that was centered around our church and our faith. And it's what you learn about me is you'll learn about a great father and a great mother and a really solid upbringing. Couple of exciting stories in there.
Okay.
One time my father and I tussled, and he showed me that he had a heck of a right hook, and was able to.
That was it. No more tussling.
It was boom. It was boom, boom. Out goes the light. Bro.
Sleep.
I literally said in the book, I had seen cartoon characters knocked out, and I would see the stars.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the stars, but I didn't hear any birds tweeting.
All right, man. Look, I didn't know that. That's the first I've known. I mean, because we never really talked about that. We really got right into sales. So let me ask you this, and then we're going to move on. You and your two siblings, did you know your parents at all?
No, we our birth parents gave us up at birth, and we were adopted by Catholic Charities into the family of Tom and Betty Durkin. So we never knew our birth parents, and no. So those are our parents. Those are our parents, Tom and Betty, the one who took responsibility for us and raised all three of us. Three separate families, that we didn't come from the same family. Okay. My brother was 2 years under me, and then my sister is 5 years under me, below me, and then and so each time my parents wanted a kid in the 1960s, they went to Catholic Charities, and they were investigated, inspected, and detected to be a good family of faith, and then they were given another child.
Wow.
Each time they applied, they got another one. So they stopped.
Wow. Man. And you have, I'm sure you've made them proud. Now, I don't know initially when you start talking about sales, because you know how people look at sales.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like, why go get you a real job. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing?
I'm sure that they, when they held me, when they went to pick me up, they didn't look at me and say, "Oh, look, a born salesman."
If they had said it, you would have said,
Yeah, I would have said, well, who knows what the future will hold? They found out soon enough I could really talk. So that was not my mother's nickname for me was the little old man, so apparently I was,
You was real mature then, huh?
I had the confidence at 3 or 4 years old trying to run the place. Yeah.
Well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
How did you get into sales initially? What were you doing, and how was it one of those, like a lot of us growing up, you threw newspapers and you had this and that? Were you like that, or what?
Yeah, my father was an executive in the insurance industry, and he sold he first sold food plans door to door, and then he sold insurance and made a
Wait a
good
minute, what are food plans? What are those?
food plans. So he would sell a freezer full of meat to you.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
yeah, like American Frozen Foods or Colorado Prime. He was in the first. He was in the first. Yeah, he was a teacher, and then he wanted to make more money, so he applied to sell freezers full of meat.
Wow.
And he doubled his income that next year, and he went from making $3,000 a year as a teacher to making $6,000 a year as a salesperson, and he said, "This is the life for me." So,
okay, around 2007, I guess around that same time, it was a guy coming in my neighborhood that was selling frozen seafood. So I love salmon, and I used to buy boxes from him of the frozen seafood until about a year later, I found out where he was getting them from. So I had to cut him out. I got me a little card that says, I'm a business owner, so then I can go in there and buy it myself. So I probably saved, I don't know, $50 a box, compared to what I was spending with him, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I found that I hate I had to cut him out, but I told him, I said, I ran across the place. He told me, he said, just do me a favor. Don't tell the neighbors. I said, okay. I won't say anything unless they ask me.
I love it.
So, high school, did you attend college or?
Yeah. I went to 2.5 years of college, and then I dropped out.
Okay.
And then I sold newspapers.
Okay.
I had a newspaper route. Route. I had a lemonade stand. Learned how to sell lemonade to the construction workers across the street that were building homes. Sold world's finest chocolate all over the place in various school drives. If you go to Catholic school, you have to be a part of fundraising. And then when I got out of college, I was looking for a job, and I actually ended up in the wholesale pump and supply business. I didn't have a degree, didn't have any skills, so most of us end up in sales.
But you can talk. I understand.
But I can talk. So
okay.
Yep.
I want to jump into the Double Your Contacts book, which is, man, this is a powerful book here, especially for networkers. Now, we also talk to just regular salespeople that might not be in network marketing, or anybody that's trying to learn how to sell, period. So as you respond to these, make sure that you're talking to them also, because we got all kind of listeners that come on and listen to some of the information that we put out. And let me ask you this too, before I get right into the questions. I know that this book was written in 2005. Mm-hmm. Things have changed now with certain things. Mm-hmm. Is it anything in here that you would say person really shouldn't use now or couldn't use now in 2020, what were we, 2023, going into 24?
No, I think the book applies. I think the difference the difference between 2005, 2006, and now is that the availability to call people on the phone and reach them live has dropped precipitously. And so you need to be smarter and in your lead production, because you used to be able to just call people up and they would pick up the phone in 2006, 2007, even 2010. But I was noticing back then that there was what I called people were putting up an electronic barbed wire around themselves. I called it the electronic barbed wire. And the first thing we had to do was we had to deal with the idea of people screening us out with voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
And voicemail, still a really well done voicemail can really get people to call you back. But I must tell you, I mean, literally, my son and I talked to a prospect today in California, and he wanted to engage our services. And he said, your subject line in your email caught my attention so much. And then your subsequent emails, which you pounded me with emails. He said, I had to talk to you guys. You guys sound like the famous line my son came up with was, he'll send an email. It says, me, he says, my dog, my dad, and my wife, and Tony Fleming. And he'll send that. He uses AI to send out like 100, 200 emails a morning, and the guy said, my dog, my dad, and my wife. What the hell's that about? He said, I had to click on that. That's a pretty headline.
Yeah.
So email, texting's the same way. A lot of times people don't. I leave some of the best voicemails in the world, but people often don't listen to voicemails these days. So that's what's changed. A lot of this book was about calling people and getting people on the phone, or even, well, not too much walking in the door, but so that's what's changed, is getting people's attention and getting them on the phone, on a Zoom, on a FaceTime. You got to get creative these days, because the electronic barbed wire has gotten pretty high. Right? Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Let me say this too, man, before we move on, because I know I'm gonna forget. I thought about this the other day, and I said I got to remind him of this and see if he remembered this. All right, so my team leader, which we would call, Bob Smith, what I'm talking about. He did a big event in Atlanta, a huge event. And I would say it might have been 3,000 people there, maybe 4,000. And he invited you in to speak along with about 6 or 7 other guys who had the stage. All right. Yeah. And that was a day where I was dealing with some real estate issues that I had invested in, and I was getting beat out of my money. So I was frustrated. I had the guy that was with me who supposedly he signed off on it and said, because he was the expert. I brought him in to view my real estate deal. And he said, this is good. Mm-hmm. So when he signed off on it, I trusted him, and the deal went bad. So that day we were trying to get over to the law firm and catch the guy who actually we signed the paperwork with. Long story short, we got over there and that guy was gone, and they couldn't find all of it. It was crazy what happened. But we were in the back of the room. And, we wasn't sitting down. We were in the back of the room getting ready to walk out. And it was toward the end. And finally, they brought you up. Like all other speakers had been up there, all of them. And you were the last one. And people were exhausted and tired. And they were selling a lot during that day, selling a whole lot. This one guy had like 2 big grocery store boxes that people were bringing money down and dropping them in the box. I mean, they was just dropping like in the church. They just came down and just dropped. He left out of there these 2 big grocery store boxes of money and went to his hotel room. I said, somebody gonna rob this dude. Yeah. But you came up last, and I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, if you don't remember what you said, you said that day, oh man, I had more respect for you than anything. Me and my partners in the back laughing because you were 100% right on what you said. Do you remember what you said?
I'm not remembering the exact words. I remember my attitude. No, but go ahead.
Yeah, these are your exact words.
Yeah.
Because those guys were selling books and everything
Courses
before you got up there. Yeah,
training.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said, man, he said this, you said the spirit must be in the room today, because I've heard a lot of stuff, because everybody was relating to the spirit and, you know, changing their mind about stuff. And so you said, my book is normally $3,000, but today and today only, I'm gonna sell it to you for $29.95. Y'all, man, that was so funny, because everybody before you had been selling stuff and they was dropping prices like the Lord said this and the Lord said that.
Yeah, right.
When you got up there, you was like, this is normally $3,000. But what I'm gonna do today is today only. I know you had to be tired and frustrated, because being the last person and everybody else in front of you selling stuff, I don't even know what happened that day after that, because we had to get out of there.
Well, let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
We crushed it that day. We had a huge. We had people at our table that were packed at our table, and there was another speaker there, and he's pretty famous, so I'm not going to mention his name, but he looked pretty pissed off.
Really?
Yeah, he really did, because he was
at your table.
Well, he was looking at us, and he had this little tiny group of people, and you know, and we had everybody at our table, and he was not happy. He was not happy. He couldn't believe it. We sucked all the air out of the room. You know,
you probably had to get him. You had to get him with that $3,000 for his book, and his, because they not stupid. They knew what everything was going on, and what's crazy is the guy who walked out of there with all that money. He told them that they would get this certain sales recruiting program if they came down and brought the money. So all of them came and brought the money. We didn't. We was in the back. And then once he got the money, he says, go to this website. He gave the website out so everybody who even didn't pay could go to the website. Like, everybody had that for free after he collected all those folks' money. Oh, that was crazy. But when you said that, man, me and my partner fell out in the back, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, this been like 8-9 hours. Now here come MJ in the back there, and they have the Lord have the Spirit has hit everybody before you. I'm like, they could have used something else into that. I mean, everybody using the same one, but man, I swear I had more respect for you that day when you said that. I never did get back. I never said anything to you about it, because we left. And we really hadn't talked about that since then.
Many people wonder if there's a secret to winning lottery games. The answer is yes, winners only lotto. Discover how to make $1,000, $10,000, or even $225,000 daily by playing the right games with the highest odds. The games to focus on are Pick 3, Pick 4, and in some states, Pick 5. Utilizing AI to track patterns in these games simplifies winning, with millions being distributed every day. This information can be easily verified on any official state lottery website. Join today or get more information by clicking the link below. See you on the winning side.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the all button and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have a lot of good interviews on this podcast.